She talks. She listens. She cares. She's Joyce Oglesby. In today's ever-changing world, Joyce takes on the hottest issues. She fights for what's right in America.
I wanna leave a legacy. How will they remember me?
Just Ask Joyce is brought to you by Guaranteed Total Construction, Window World, Nan's and Crafts Florists, Squire Boone Caverns, and About Face Spa and Salon. Now, just ask Joyce.
And leave that kind of legacy.
And welcome to Just Ask Joyce. I'm Joyce Oglesby, Family Life Fix-It Pro, and getting you fit for life every day God's way. Thank you so much for joining me today. I pray that you will be blessed by what we have to share with you today. And I think that many of you are going to be very interested in what we talk about today. Of course, again, I love talking about families. I love fixing families. I love helping you with your marital situations. I can't do it if you don't write me. I can't do it if you don't ask me. So write me, justaskjoyce@gmail.com. You have the phone number there. Give me a call and let's talk through some of your troubling situations, because marriage is worth preserving. Legacy it is your lifeblood. You want your legacy preserved, don't you? Of course you do. So make sure that you do whatever it takes. Whether you call me or whether you call a counselor, doesn't matter to me. Just make sure that you do whatever it takes to preserve your legacy for your kids, for your grandkids, and maybe I'll have another surprise for you soon. You had a little visit from our granddaughter, our youngest one, Brenna, and I think I'll bring her back on because she's been with Mimi for a while, so she's just going to enjoy sharing with you again today at the end of the show, all right? Because obviously she steals the show when she's on here. But I have an email from someone today who says her husband won't talk to her. Now, let me just tell you this, that sometimes that can be a problem because marriage sometimes gets into a lull. All relationships will get into a lull if we allow them to get into a lull, and what you don't want is that to happen, right? You don't want that lull. But you don't want to have to carry the whole conversation either, and I get that. It's no fun when you have to carry the whole conversation. So we have a listener today who has written me and said, Joyce, my husband will not talk to me. I come home from work to find him glued to the television, and that's where he stays the rest of the night, even to have his dinner in his recliner. He says he loves me. I believe he does. He says he simply has nothing to say. I feel shut out and lonely and resort to Facebook friends. We've been married 11 years, second marriage, no children, but I can't see spending another 11 years in silence. I love him and don't want another divorce, but I am frustrated with the situation. Is this something I can change? Okay, that's usually the standard question. Is there something I can change? And usually you're wanting to change him or her. You never want to think about, oh, maybe I should start with me, but of course you know where I'm going to start, don't you? But let me just say this about your situation here to kind of cap it off, all right? Silence is golden until it's not worth a plug nickel. Now, if you're wondering what a plug nickel is, I don't know. I mean, that's an old Southern saying that I just remember my grandparents saying it, my mom and my dad, and it's like, you're not worth a plug nickel. Well, neither is silence whenever you are in a relationship, and because it can become very lonely, and that's no place for a relationship to ever go, is it? So, if you were sitting across the table from me, I would have to ask you this. Was your husband Mr. Chatty when you were dating? That's a loaded question, isn't it? Because, oftentimes what we do is we settle for how they are. We think that, they're grits or groceries whenever we're dating them. We think that they just are the end-all, be-all, they're, the bee's knees. all of those things, even the flaws that we hate today, see, because they become exacerbated, of course, when we start living together, right? And then there are other things that we don't like, and so all those little flaws really amplify. And so that's what you're experiencing now. I would say that likely he was not Mr. Chatty. I don't know. I wasn't in the relationship when it started. You were. But who carried that conversation whenever you guys were dating and when you first got married? You know, who carried the conversation then? Was it you? Did he have things that he wanted to talk about? You know, if this is a new development, then you might have cause for concern. But if this is something that has never changed, then really and truly, you kind of got what you bargained for, didn't you? You see? So, now, we'll work on some things, all right? We'll work on some things that you can change. Now, you notice I'm not saying that he's going to change, and he may or he may not, but let's work on some things that you possibly can change about the relationship and go from there. Because, you know, that's where modification starts, is with you, not him. You start to modify, and then hopefully the home will become a lovelier place for you and him. All right, so number one, let's have dinner at the table. You say he likes it in the recliner every night. Well, that's going to change, and you, my dear, can orchestrate that, okay? So when meal is prepared, you set your table. Hey, add some flowers, like these beautiful flowers from Hands and Craft that we'll talk about later on the show. But you add some flowers to your table, maybe some candlelight, and then call him to the table to enjoy it. Honey, dinner's ready. Call him in there. Well, bring it to me. No, we're going to have dinner at the table tonight. That's it. I guarantee you, if he's hungry enough, he's going to get his little fanny out of that chair, and he's going to come to the dinner table, and he's going to sit. Now, what I want you to do is start the conversation. You start the conversation. You're going to turn off the television, all right? That's going to be absolutely a must. You have to turn off the television. And you sit down, you have your grace. I pray that you do that. You thank God for your food, and then you start the conversation. Now, what you're going to find is that he might not be Mr. Chatty during this time, but this is going to be something that you're going to repeat night after night after night after night. And eventually the conversation will turn. Now, what I want you to do is think about that conversation that you're going to talk about. Like, I don't want you to say, how was your day? I want you to be creative in your questions, like, think of something like, maybe, did you hear the news today about so-and-so? Did you see your friend so-and-so? Have you seen them lately? Whatever, give him something that he's got to come back and answer you with. Because how was your day? Fine. You don't want to do that, all right? You don't want a one-word answer. You want to stimulate the conversation. So you be creative in your topics, and you go from there. And again, repetitiveness is going to really get the ball cranked, so don't you give up on this, all right? You stick with me on this, all right? Now, number two, get him out of his recliner, all right? Set your Facebook friends aside, because you have to be willing to do this too. You got to set your Facebook friends aside and tell him to come and join you on the couch. Just pat the couch. Honey, come over and sit with me for a little bit, and he might resist leaving his recliner. So if he does, that's okay. I want you to go over, and I want you to just scoot in that recliner with him. Now, if your two fannies don't fit, that's all right. Just sit in his lap. Plop right down on his lap, and maybe nibble on his ear, start teasing him a little bit. Those things. Flirting. Start flirting with him. Start interrupting the conversation, even if you have to get in front of his face so that he doesn't do this to see the television. Okay? That's just for starters. When we get back from this break, I'll go through a couple of other things with you that might get him away from television and start talking with his wife. Don't go away.
You're watching Just Ask Joyce, where real life and family values connect. Just Ask Joyce is brought to you by Guaranteed Total Construction, Window World, Nan's and Crafts Florists, Squire Boone Caverns, and About Face Spa and Salon.
Thank you so much for joining me today on the Just Ask Joyce show. We are talking about a husband who won't talk to his wife. How can she change his situation? I've given you pointers 1 and 2. Dinner at the table, not in a recliner. Get him out of his recliner and over on the couch with you, or either join him in the recliner, sit in his lap and get his interest. Now, number 3, develop an interest in what gets his. You know what? His television tactic is either an escape or an addiction, and you need to find out what it is. If it's an addiction, addictions can be broken, and you just have to be creative in how you do that. But if it's an escape, what is he escaping? Work, problems, or you? And I think that you need to find out that issue. And, he might just be kind of the quiet sort. And we've talked about that, was that how he was when he was married? But, or maybe he just doesn't simply enjoy conversation, or maybe he just doesn't enjoy it with you. But you need to figure that out. Now, number 4, observe his behavior. All right? Observe his behavior. Does he talk to others? Like I said, does he enjoy conversation, or maybe not with you? And if he's in talking to others but not talking to you, then that's a problem. That's a real problem with your all's relationship, and you need to seek counseling or talk with me, but get help for this, because if he's staring at you blankly, then your marriage is in trouble, all right? Number 5, strike a deal. Strike a deal, all right? If he loves you and desires to spend the next 11 plus years with you, then agree to have a designated night set aside for other things like dates and social events with friends and board games, things that just the two of you do together. That's a good way to break an addiction, if it is. 1 night a week is mine, not the television's. And we are going to do something together. And so you strike a deal. You choose the nights that you want television. And I think I would build up to that. 3 nights are yours, 4 nights are mine, or vice versa, ever how much you can stand each other, all right? So, but strike the deal and get going with it. And then number 6, learn to be content. Learn to be content. All right, I'm going to tell you this. If divorce is something that you don't want, if it's not what you desire, and your attempts at bringing more conversation into your marriage should fail, then this leaves you with the option of you have to learn to be content in your circumstances, right? If divorce is off the table for you, then learn to be content. Plan a girls' night out. Then you have to start focusing on you. Because being on Facebook with your friends is an addiction too. So, get some things, get involved. Find some novels to read. I've got a great novel. Grandma's Jewels is a great novel. Pick it up. Go to a gym or get involved in an exercise program. But do something for you. You don't have to throw away love in order to be content. Remember that, all right? But settling for silence is not the answer either. It's not the ideal marriage, and so I understand that you really, really would like to do that. And I'll be the first to admit, it keeps you married to a man who loves you, if you can settle for that silence, all right? Now, I don't have that problem. I didn't want you to get that impression. My man's a talkative man, but marriage doesn't always change people, but sometimes neither does divorce. We'll be back. Don't go away. And welcome back to Just Ask Joyce. Thank you so much for joining me today to preserve your legacy. And again, only because I don't have Brenna in town very often, and so she's staying with Mimi for a little bit, and so I brought her back. Why not? Because she was just a natural. She kind of stole the show last time, didn't you?
Yeah.
You were a hit. So who did you bring with you today, girlie?
I brought, this is my dog, Gruffy.
This
is my bear, Blinky.
Blinky. You always name your animals, and they're always such a neat.
As you can see, he's a slap.
Oh, he's a slap bracelet. How about that?
But he doesn't really sit.
He doesn't sit good?
Nope.
All right, so Well, I think that's really cool. When you come to Mimi's, we usually have a treasure chest, don't we?
Yeah?
Have you always liked having the treasure chest?
Yeah.
You do? Why? So when you walk in the door, is that the first thing you do? You go to the treasure chest
Yeah.
and figure out what it is? You do? So what did you find there this time?
I found this and some drawing books and a whole bag of peppermint patties for me and some Oreos.
And some Oreos, I know, because you do love those. I know. You love them. And so you're just, we're going to have a good time. Still, it's going to be time soon to go back to Indiana. I mean, not Indiana, you're in Indiana, to go back to Georgia, unfortunately. Are you excited about that? I know. Well, don't tell Mommy. You love going home to see Mommy. It's just that you like staying with Mimi a lot, don't you? Maybe we could talk her into the whole summer. Does that excite you a little bit? Yeah. Hey, how do you like these flowers?
I like the orange.
You know what they are? This is kind of a salute to summer, actually, from Nan's and Craft, and they do beautiful flowers for Mimi's show. These are hydrangeas.
I got a question.
Another one?
Yeah, why doesn't Mimi like spiders that much?
Well, spiders don't bother me as much as snakes because I'm bigger than spiders, so I can kill spiders.
No, like big ones.
Well,
Like the really big ones.
well, the really big ones, do you think they're that big?
Yeah.
Well, the one you saw on the car here doesn't count.
No.
that was in Georgia.
No.
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 Yeah.
Well, Miss Shelley showed me a picture of a blue one.
She did, and it was big?
Yeah,
How big?
really big.
Well, I don't like spiders either that much, but you know what I mean? But they don't bother me like snakes. I don't want one biting me, a spider, because they can
spider?
make you really sick.
Oh, I have a pet spider.
I know. He climbs up your window every night and on the outside. Now, would he be your pet spider if he was on the inside? No. Oh, yeah, you'd have to get rid of him, huh? He's on the outside and he climbs up. He's really grown too, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Because
But every time when he dies, he has babies.
I know, that's just what they do. They have a lot of babies too, don't they?
Yep. One time I saw one, and a bug killed it.
A bug killed the spider? Oh, well, it didn't get caught in the mom's trap then, did it? That spider web? Because that's what they do, They spin that web, and that's how they catch their food.
Yeah, but the fly was just like flying against the window,
Yeah.
so it ate the baby.
Oh, well, that's a shame. I know you didn't like losing your friend Spider, huh? So, well, I like your little stuffies there. Anything you want to say? Anything you've read lately that you're just really...
Well, the last night, well, no, not that last night, when I was still in Georgia last night, Mommy read me a matching book. It was Elsa and Anna, How to Build a Snowman, Olaf. And we also read, sometimes Mommy likes to read this, book. It's called The Best Nest.
Oh, you have quite a collection of books, and I love reading you your books when you go because sometimes we even make up jokes and laugh, don't we? We're not going to tell anybody.
Well, we can tell one. I said, ooh, I could have a hairdo like that. Oops, somebody already did.
Somebody already, yep, that's right. That's what we do. We read books and we just have a good time, don't we? I love it. Love, you're going to be smart. You know why?
I'm going to win my pants.
No, we also make up songs occasionally. Let's don't go there. You're going to be smart because you're left-handed. I have this theory all left-handed people are brilliant. I think it's time to leave the show because, never know what's going to come out of the mouths of kids, especially this one. Bye, Brenna. Love you.
Bye.
All right, we'll be back next time. I'm Joyce Oglesby, and I'm in
Maybe tomorrow.
Maybe not. Don't. Just make sure you join us.